it is now time for us to have our interview that I promised you, and this is Terry Johnson from Volunteer Behavioral Health. And it's good to have you today.
Good morning. I'm glad to be here.
Well, good. And speaking of that a little bit, there we go.
Okay.
All right, I think that's better. We're going to talk about, for those of you who may be wondering why we've got Terry here, of course, mental health awareness is a big thing, really for everybody, because it's not just a lot of people. When they think of mental health, they think of crazy people or something. They think, or they think of a lot of weird things. They have a lot of weird ideas. But mental health is not for people that there's just a lot to it. And so we're going to talk about this program we're going to have on April 27th at the Harris Park. Also, we're going to talk about a little bit about mental health. So, Ms. Terry, go ahead.
Sure. We partnered up with the Sequatchie County Health Council. Alexa Foster is doing that. We're doing a Wellness in Motion Mental Health Matters. We're going to have lots of vendors. We're going to give away prizes. If anybody would like to be a vendor to sell things there, come on down and let us know. We have a Facebook page if you want to look it up. And it tells you all about what we're going to be doing. We're trying to make this an opening thing for Mental Health Awareness Month, which is May. Last year we had a big thing with that. This year, I want to push it forward. I want everyone to know mental health awareness. Also, health matters that goes along with this. So we're pushing this event. It should be fun for all the family to come out. We're going to have games for the kids. It should be a good opportunity to get out and see some of your neighbors. And just see all the vendors in the area who want to give resources and try to help you guys with anything you might need.
All right, because a while ago I really misspoke when I said about crazy people on the mental health. That used to be, a lot of people just thought you had to be mentally off. And mental health has a lot of things to do, like with anxiety, depression. There's all kind of things that go into mental health that a lot of people don't seek help for. That they could, and you're not a bad person if you seek help, because actually you're smart if you're seeking help because you realize you have a problem.
Right, and it's so important to be able to talk with people about anything going on with you. Depression is the #1 mental health illness in the country. Everybody in the country has had depression at one time or another, whether it be you're grieving a loved one that you've lost, or lost your job. Depression could be anything that's happened in your life. You don't feel self-worth anymore. You feel like you can't provide for your family. There is so much with depression, but everybody's had it at one time or another.
Yeah, they have, and some deal with it better than others. But you have one of the things that I think about a lot is a lot of the military who come home with post-traumatic stress syndrome.
Oh, yes. Not only the military. We're looking into more of PTSD now with police officers, with firefighters, anybody that has to deal with anything with the public like that. It's very difficult to deal with the situations and going into risking your life every day.
Right.
And that can be pretty hard on your mind.
Well, and then, like you mentioned, those type of jobs, fire, police, military, they see a lot of things that we as normal citizens don't see.
Yes. A lot of death, car accidents, suicides, a lot of things that most people won't see in a lifetime.
No, and don't really want to see, to be honest. But you have those things where they're there, and I know I've had friends who've lost loved ones to suicide and other things that were not good, and it took them a long time to get over it. And I'm not sure they're actually over it, because really haven't sat down and talked with them.
Right.
But it's, and sometimes that's something you can never get over. I mean, you might get better, but
Right.
you don't get over it because it's there.
Well, it's very important if you're to that point that you sit down and talk with someone you know that is going to be able to talk with you. It's not going to go any further. We're, dictated about HIPAA. So sometimes you can't talk about this with family and friends. You need an outsider to be able to, express yourself, how you're feeling, how are we going to cope with this? How are we going to learn to move forward?
Right, because I know I've dealt with people too that they'll tell you, says, well, just get over it. And that you can't just get over it.
No. I had a lot of people tell me that when I lost my husband, to a massive heart attack. And we were together 35 years. And so to tell somebody you just need to get over it and move forward, it's like, well, how do I do that? I've lost my friends that we had together. I've lost that closeness with him, that person that was always there by my side. A lot of people have a hard time dealing with that. Mm-hmm. And it's very difficult sometimes to sort it out in your mind and kind of be able to talk with someone and express your feelings about things like that and be able to get it out.
Yeah, it really is. And when you, I know I didn't know this until I had someone close to me. They died of broken heart syndrome.
Yes.
And it's because their spouse had died previously, and it wasn't long. And of course, they were not of the best health themselves as far as mentally and physically as well.
Sure.
But that's still, just because maybe someone's having some issues, whether it be physical or whatnot, that still doesn't mean that they don't think about those things.
Oh yeah. I'll be honest with you. I had that when I lost my husband, and it got to a point where I was having difficulty working, especially in the field I'm in.
Yeah.
And, I just had to take, some time off and talk with someone and help me get through that, because it's a very, very difficult time. It changes your whole life.
Yeah. I mean, someone that you come home to every day, you talk to every day, do things with, and then they're no longer there, and that's a big hole in your heart.
It is, and broken heart syndrome is a real thing, folks. It weakens your heart when you're like that. Losing someone close to you is very, very difficult on your mind, on your body, and it's just very hard without being able to talk with someone about it.
Well, and in this Mental Health Matters event at Harris Park, which is April 27th, that's Sunday.
Yes.
Last Sunday of April. I think that's the last Sunday of April.
Yes, it's a Sunday.
Yeah, and anyway, that'll be a good place where you can come and get to meet people, get to talk to people about things. Of course, you're not going to be set up to talk to them about their situation, but you can get them appointments because you have a office here in Dunlap.
We do. It's over on Fredonia Road.
Yeah, right across from the old, right across the ditch from the old middle school.
Yes.
And but that building's been several things, and y'all really, when I've been in there, y'all really fixed it up quite a bit.
Yeah, we've tried to make it, more appealing to people walking in. It's more like walking into home.
Yeah.
And we want you to feel comfortable there. We want you to be able to talk with people and get what you need there to kind of help you deal with things.
Right. And one thing too, probably people don't want to talk about a lot is in mental health. Sometimes, and I hate to say this, but sometimes you have to take medicine.
You do. I mean, there's so many mental illnesses now: ADHD, bipolar, PTSD. Sometimes you have to have something to kind of help reset, and then you're able to kind of express yourself, move a little forward with things, and talk about it. And you may not have to take it very long. It may be a short-term thing. But sometimes medicine is an option.
Well, like you said, it helps reset.
Yes.
Because I know, of course, I'm epileptic, and I have to take my medicine for my epilepsy every day.
Right, and it's chemical imbalances that causes some of this.
And so I don't question taking it. I've been asked by my doctors if I'd like to try to go off of it and see if everything, because I've had it since age 4.
Right.
But I'd rather play it safe than sorry. I take pills for other things, blood pressure and my liver transplant and all other things I
Exactly.
had. So, 2 pills more a day doesn't bother me.
Right. And you gotta understand too, everybody with, severe illness or any kind of illness can put you in a mental health state. And it makes it very difficult to recover from your physical health if your mind's not there to be able to work through it.
Right, and that's the thing of working through it. And there's a lot of things you have to go through to get to the point to where you can finally get to where you can say, I've maybe not mastered that area, but at least you've gotten better to where you can handle.
Well, everything's a work in progress. Mental health is the same way. It's a work in progress. It may not happen overnight. Might take you a month. Might take you a few weeks. But it's a work in progress. Whenever you have a mental illness, you have to get on the right medication. Sometimes, sometimes you get on one, it doesn't work. You have to try something that different. That's the reason we have everybody coming in and out. And we follow up with them. Our care managers are very, very good at volunteer. We follow up with you at least once or twice a month. Say, hey, how's it going? You doing okay? Are you taking your medication? Are you going to your PCP appointment?
Uh-huh.
And if they tell you, hey, I just found out I've got cancer, or hey, I've got diabetes, and I don't know what I'm doing here, then we help them learn to do that.
Right, because a lot of times when you see on television, a lot of times these, I hate to use this example, but like these mass shootings and stuff, there have been people that have been on medication, but they quit taking their medication,
Yes.
got off, and then their whole process just dropped off.
Right.
Or they couldn't think right, they weren't right.
Right.
And those are hard cases because what they did was wrong, but then you look at it and say, well, could they really help it? Or, they went off their medicine, they should have stayed on. But, there's so many ways to look at it. You can't just say, well, and
Right.
here it is, fix it. There's no fix.
It's a work in progress. Sometimes it's medicine. Sometimes, you're going to have a care manager that's going to follow up with you. Hey, if medicine's not working, let's get you back in today. Let's get you in with the doc. Let's see if we can, reevaluate, maybe try you on something that will work for you.
Right.
Because some medicine don't work with some body chemistries.
Right.
So it takes a little time to figure out what medication's actually good for your body chemistry. And then when you get it, it's a wonderful thing. Plus, if you want to talk about things and you're able to keep talking about it and work through, okay, I can't go to the grocery store because my husband used to go with me and I just don't like going by myself, and he's gone now. Well, we try to work you into, hey, let's make a trip. And we may take a trip to the grocery store with you that day, and help you learn how to start doing these things that you used to do and moving a little bit forward.
Yeah. Well, I can see going to the grocery store these days. Sometimes I don't like to go and get inside and think, man, there's a bunch of people in here.
Yes, there is a lot of people in there. It's difficult sometimes.
Yeah, when, of course, teaching school for 30 years, like I did, my wife and I did, you run into all cases with students as well, and you don't know. Because a lot of times we don't know until something flares up.
Yes.
And don't really want to know sometimes, because it's not really up for us to know unless it's going to affect some things.
Well, we're in scary times right now. We've got a lot of kids that's got peer pressure, got things going on at home. They may have family history of mental illness in their history. And, we've got kids bringing guns into schools. We got kids, buying drugs, selling drugs. Social media is, it can be a good thing, but it also, on the other hand, can be a bad thing to a young person who stays on their phone or stays, on the computer, looking at that stuff and may get a hold of the wrong stuff. They've been suicide, show people how to do suicide, show people how to make meth, show people, and that stuff is very devastating to a young person growing up and learning.
Right, and school children, they want to all fit in. And, and if and I know I've been there, done that. I've seen it happen where, people just tell us, no, you're not part of our group. We don't like you, or you don't wear the right clothes, or
right.
You don't have money.
Right.
But, there's all kind of peer pressures that the students do.
Right.
And, so that if the parents don't have a good relationship with their children, maybe they think they do, but if that child's keeping that thing quiet and not talking about it, then the parent doesn't know they're having an issue.
Right.
And then they don't know to talk to them about it. And, I think gone is the day that a lot of people just let things ride and go on.
Exactly.
Everybody gets offended nowadays.
Yes. Well, kids are like adults, but the thing about children and teenagers is they're not grown yet.
Right.
And they're still learning and still listening and learning all sorts of stuff sometimes that they don't need to be learning.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, childhood mental health is growing with the situations that's going on right now.
Uh-huh.
Kids are bringing guns into school, shooting other children and other teenagers. We see it every day now, and it's scary because you send your kids to school.
Right.
And you used to, when I was young, you go to school, that was probably the safest place you could be.
Yeah.
But now, with so much violence and mental health now, I think mental health is not something that popped up overnight. I think it's always been there.
Yeah.
But now people are more aware of it. And that's what we're out for Mental Health Awareness Month.
Well, and too, I've noticed over the years, a lot of the foods that we eat, things that have come in, like the dyes in some of the foods.
Right.
A lot of things have changed in our foods there's more things going on now than there were when I was growing up.
Right.
Like more allergies, more disease like ADHD.
Exactly.
There's more of that going on, and part of that could be from our food consumption.
Right.
What we do. I mean, I'm not a scientist by no means, but I've just watched it and kind of read up on it from time to time.
Right.
And you see that, and you have to be careful about what you do.
Well, they're talking autism is caused by stuff like that. And they're trying now to cut out the red food diet, stuff like that, to cut out the autism. So that's something in the future they're working with. But, there's, like I said, there is so much violence. Kids get depressed, get down, decide they don't want to stay here anymore and try to commit suicide. It's scary.
Yeah.
It's real scary.
It really is. And I think that probably what you do is working with the children at the young age so you can teach them, hey, tomorrow's another day.
It is.
And go on and don't let these things bother you.
Right. Well, that's the reason that we've stuck some of our staff, our SBBHLs, which is our school-based counselors and stuff in the schools, because we feel like everybody needs help. Teachers needs help. Mental health is difficult at times for children. They can become violent. They can shut themselves down, get depressed, get down. So that's the reason we have people in the schools now, is to try to help these children overcome what's going on with them, whether it's something at home or peer pressure or, ADHD, bipolar, whatever.
I know. I talk about the middle school students. Our first year in the new middle school, well, I call it the new middle school, the middle school now. Our first year there, we had a child that was killed by an uncle.
Oh.
And he was visiting his cousins, and the uncle had come home he was going to kill the family. And because I don't know what all was going on with the family, but anyway, this boy at the middle school, he took his cousin and pushed him out the window, and he was trying to get out the window because they had the door locked.
Right.
And this uncle burst through the door and shot the boy as he was trying to get out the window.
Right.
And that really bothered the kids a lot. And the reason I know it bothered them is where his desk was. We left everything alone for a while. I'd always try to move the desk about every 6 weeks. But after that, we left his desk alone. And one day somebody come in and just sit in his desk. And I thought the class was going to go ballistic on that child.
Right.
They were, hey, that's his seat. Get out.
See, that's a fine example of how children see this stuff. And teenagers also. They weren't saying anything about it, but that desk was important because of that person. And sometimes children can't get through that because they've never had to deal with situations like this. And sometimes counseling is the best thing for that. Is let them talk about it and see that what they're having feelings. It's okay to have those feelings. Let's see what we can do to help you.
Right, because you never know what goes on in anyone's mind, whether it be a child's mind, even the little children is 2 and 3 and 4 years old.
Yes.
You don't know what goes through their minds so much.
Well, I've seen 3 and 4 year olds that they're already testing for that stuff.
Really?
And usually you can't diagnose a mental illness in a child till they're around 6. And they may be seeing it at 3 or 4.
Mm.
And so between 3 and 4 and 6 years old, when they can actually test them, it's very difficult to deal with the child in that situation. Because, they may be acting out, they may be having temper tantrums. There could be a lot of things that they go through in those 3 years of waiting for somebody to be able to diagnose.
Yeah, and a lot of people, like a temper tantrum, people might think, well, that's just normal for children because they have them.
Right, they do.
Adults have them.
But they go to the extreme.
Yeah. And
then the parents are like, what do I do? I can't even take them in a store when they're acting like that. That's where you need to step up and say, let's get him in. Let's see if we can figure out what we can do to help him where he can get to a stable point where we can work with him and get him through this.
Yeah, and then I've also seen from the lower levels and middle school level, sometimes they grow out of that.
Yes.
Because it's something, I don't want to call it a stage, but it's, for lack of a term, I guess, a stage where they just eventually it just kind of goes away, and that could be the same thing with adults. Some of those same things don't always. They're not lifelong. Once you have it, you have it for the rest of your life. It's not always a lifelong thing.
Well, I've seen where kids go through a traumatic event, and they may not get the help they needed to deal with it at that time.
Yeah.
Later on, when they get to be teenagers and adults, then it comes back.
Uh-huh.
And then they really have a difficult time working, having family relationships, the works. And nobody knows why. Well, it's because they went through a traumatic event when they were young, and they didn't get the help they needed.
Right. And that could be a lot of things, from a death to being molested, to a lot of different things that.
Yes, sir.
That those things out there that you and I might not be aware of what's going on, and then that child might, or adult, whoever, eventually comes out and says, well, hey, this is what's going on.
Right. And, some of these families, they're coming back from Afghanistan and all these places, and they think they've got it under control. When they get back, they're not dealing with it well.
No. That's the sad part about it. And, that's sad.
Right.
That's all I can say about that. And, we want to remind everybody about this event on April 27th at the park. You're looking for a lot of other people there as well.
Sure.
You'll have a lot of your folks there will there be some people from Jasper there as well?
Yeah, I'll be there. And we're going to have all sorts of people there to help with resources, things you might need that you can't get. And we're going to have vendors there. There's going to be lots of prizes given away. We're trying to get bouncy houses for the kids, things like that. We want to make this a family event. We want to get it out there that mental health does matter, and it's time for us to not be quiet about it anymore. The more we talk about it, the more we can get to help people that realizes, hey, I really need to talk with somebody. I need to see mental health to see if I can get better.
All right. Well, excuse me. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we cut off?
Nope. I just want to make sure everybody comes to our event. It's kicking off our Mental Health Awareness Month in May, and I'll be talking more about that as May gets closer.
All right. And I see. I'm trying to get in touch with somebody here that's been blowing up my phone. And but anyway, well, I appreciate you coming in, Miss Terry, and like I say, we'll get this out. And of course, I've been since you sent this information to me, I've been spreading it out. So anyway,
I appreciate you, Glenn. You are one of our hearts here in town. You get it out there, and you're ready to help the community anyway. And I appreciate you very much.
You're very much appreciated that, and I'll do whatever I can.
You do very well. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And you have a blessed day.
Thank you.
Hey everybody, this is Glenn Edison from Valley Views. We appreciate you watching our shows, and we would like for you to like, share, and follow us on Facebook, as well as like and subscribe to our YouTube page.